It is Wednesday, July 4th, 2018. It is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and so you know what time it is. It's time for a little bit of coin metal. And we did not get our asses kicked at jiu-jitsu today. Just didn't get it done. You know, there was a little bit of open mat today, but I did get my ass kicked yesterday at jiu-jitsu for two classes. I did a fundamentals class, and then on top of that, I did an additional, slightly more advanced class. But yeah, so I felt like I got my jiu-jitsu on, you know. I felt a little more confident, although I was trying to focus more on not pressuring my opponent, you know, not being so pressure oriented, trying to open it up a little bit more to allow and I know I've said this before, you know, but I mean, honestly, it's a constant struggle for me because, you know, I got broad shoulders, I got big pecs, and I just want to just smother you with them. You know, that's just my gig. But, you know, like I said, I'm trying to reach out and get a better game all the way around. You know, because the pressure works and strength works, but I would much rather have technique be guiding, you know, like my my overall methodology and plan. You know, I still have a lot of trouble with that. You know, I'll be like looking at a situation and not knowing exactly what to go in for. And I think I'm finally starting to get to the point now where I'm constantly trying to get the underhook. You know, and that in itself has been a tough enough thing. You know, I don't mind putting my arms up over your shoulders and holding you in while I'm trying to do something with my legs or something to that effect. You know, so again, you know, trying not to rely too much on strength. You know, and also in holding people in, I've been trying to practice more Tyrannosaur hands. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but this isn't like an official technique or anything like that. But like keeping your elbows in tight and just working from your elbow to your wrist as far as your reach goes, you know. So it's like if it's within that reach, if you can reach it from your elbow to your wrist, you know, then you're okay. You know, and you can turn yourself to the side to give yourself an additional inch or two of reach. But the idea is that then I won't be using as much of my strength, you know, with regard to pulling you in and whatnot. And I'm really trying to get my arms some rest because, you know, I've been coming back to it and not really paying much attention to that, and I really need to pay attention to it more. But with my last couple sparring sessions that I had in class, I was really trying to focus on keeping my opponent at a distance. You know, not necessarily opening up my arms to being taken or anything like that, but certainly a little bit more open stance than I have been. You know, so going towards trying to get people in butterfly and kicking them loose off of me that way, you know, or simply just bucking them off, you know. But the point being that I've always had a really, really tight game. You know, my desire when I'm on the mat with somebody is to close the gap as soon as possible and then assume a dominant position and then attempt to submit my opponent. And that's just like the order of operations that I've always operated by. And I'm finding that jiu-jitsu isn't really as linear as that. That there are several opportunities somewhere between, you know, standing and gaining a dominant position where there are opportunities to submit your opponent. And so, again, you know, you don't necessarily have to go through all of the steps that I'm talking about. You could probably catch somebody in a choke still standing, you know. So, again, I'm trying to open myself up to being receptive to those opportunities And I can't do that if I'm in a constant, one-way lecture where I've got the gap closed and you don't have any position to get your arms in or anything like that. If I'm dictating too much, I'm not hearing what you're bringing to the conversation. That's not really fun for anybody. I think the excitement in jiu-jitsu, the things that get me excited the most is when I'm absolutely surprised by my opponent. Where I did allow just like 2 inches too much space, and that person knew how to utilize that space. And next thing I know, I'm on my back, and I've got him in half guard still, but that's a lot worse position than I was just in, And so, really, I'm trying to embrace the idea that practice is the time to really explore those opportunities and see where the conversation can go on a more neutral playing field, instead of worrying about so much, oh shit, this guy's going to kill me and then take my wallet, or strangle me and take my wallet, or something to that effect, that we would experience in reality, and trying to play with that level of intensity. Again, I think it's been blocking out a lot of the conversation from my mind, and I need to be more receptive to it, because I think that way I can get more out of my jiu-jitsu time. It's just my feeling. I'm going to go with it. It seems to be working so far, and I'm going to carry it forward into the rest of this week, at least, or as often as I can remind myself to do so, at least, right? Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back into some music, or throw into some music initially, as the case may be. And I haven't picked out a first dance, but this seems kind of appropriate because it is the 4th of July, and X-Ray Visions, Clutch, Down Home American Band. Clutch, First Dance, X-Ray Visions, here on Coin Metal. And that was Slipknot with Duality. I love the video for that song. It's watching people freak out to it. I wish I would have been able to have caught them while they were on tour for Iowa. That would have been terribly exciting. Anyway, I kind of bag on Paul Krugman. I call him the Krug. Anyway, it's just because he's been wrong a lot about a lot of things in the economy, and I don't know if it was just him stating it or stating certain things at different times, or him being taken out of context, which is entirely possible in today's media. They don't like to play with an even game. On this show, I don't edit shit, man. I mean, I did edit one thing, but it was at the request of the person that I was interviewing. And in reality, it was happening during a music break, so it would have been cut out anyway. Point being that I don't edit shit. Like when I've had people like Bryce Wiener or John McAfee on the show, I put it up as is. You're getting it the way it came out in the live interview. Anyway, point being that I kind of bag on the Krug because of some of the things that he said about crypto, or some of the things he's reportedly said about crypto. But I came across something today, and the title of it interests me. It's clickbaity enough for somebody like myself. And so anyway, here it goes. This is on newsbtc.com. And let's see, this was authored July 5th, 2018 at 12:04 a.m. So time traveler Dalmas Nigetich, no indication of penis. I'm going to assume yes from the name Dalmas. I don't know. Sounds kind of foreign. I don't know any Dalmases. Anyway, continuing on. My apologies either way. Paul Krugman asks quote-unquote real questions endorsing Bitcoin Cash technical analysis. Most altcoins come under review are slowing down, but not Bitcoin Cash. Regardless of the politics, we still maintain a bullish forecast, and for confirmations, Bitcoin Cash buyers must push above 850. From the news, the team behind any of the top 10 crypto must be made of steel and have a really thick skin. We have seen how Ripple enthusiasts got chopped by the Nobel-winning economist Paul Krugman, and worse still by the New York Times through their controversial journalist Nathaniel Popper. All in all, and made worse by their recent efforts to drive XRP into the mainstream and prevent traders from just speculating on its price, and rather use it for everyday transactions. It was inevitable that they would face it rough amongst critics. But really, according to Paul Krugman, if a digital currency isn't actually used for any transactions, is it, actually a currency? I would say no. We know that the team behind BCH wants to make this a mainstream currency and a medium of exchange of choice. By this, they mean fiat and BCH would in the future have the same liquidity levels of dude, you really need to read your shit out loud. The same liquidity levels of liquidity with crypto, replacing them more so if governments decide to replace paper money with digital currency. There are solid reasons to believe that all of the top 10 cryptos that draw the world's media, Bitcoin Cash stands out. Not because of their fan base, but due to the utility factor they emphasize on. Then again, Bitcoin Cash solves real-world problems, advocating the spirit of decentralization. Though not perfect, they are working towards perfection, and many companies now accept Bitcoin Cash as a payment method, unlike Bitcoin, for example, which companies are booting because of high fees. And also the technical burden of onboarding to Lightning. Although, I'm being led to believe by some of the articles, and we may actually do another episode about Lightning at some point or another, just to kind of update ourselves on the changes, because there have been some, according to some of the rhetoric I'm being fed on Twitter. So yeah, I think it bears some investigation. Anyway, continuing on. Bitcoin Cash technical analysis, weekly chart. And I don't know. Here we can observe Bitcoin Cash lockstep increment since launch. A staircase to the moon because of those nice higher highs whenever there is a correction. At current prices, Bitcoin Cash is trending at the edge, and any depreciation would definitely burst open the sell sluices, inevitably pushing prices to 300. Technically, for assurance, we must see some sort of price recovery, and that means this week closing as a bull. That perhaps might help propel prices above 850, with every breakout accompanied by high trading volumes. For clarity, dude, and you know what? I'm just gonna ditch this thing at the moment, because honestly, this is pissing me off because it doesn't actually have the Paul Krugman Bitcoin Cash thing, which I was far more interested in. And so as a matter of fact, Cash Krug. Let's fucking find this out, man. He had to say something on it. Let's see here. Here we go. This one's on Bitcoin.com. Paul Krugman trolls Ripple accidentally making a case for Bitcoin Cash. And so this is probably like the source that dude got the window dressing for his technical analysis plug. Anyway, continuing on. If a digital currency isn't actually used for any transactions, is it, actually a currency? Tweeted Nobel laureate economist with the ears of American progressive politicians, Paul Krugman. He was prompted by a colleague's recent article regarding a push by Ripple's XRP to urge users to do more than just speculate. Mr. Krugman, it turns out, backed into one of the main arguments for Bitcoin Cash. Paul Krugman trolls Ripple BTC. Useless, evil, antisocial, worthless, impractical bubble fraud. Those are the kinder adjectives the preeminent U.S. court's U.S. economist with exclusive access to freer world leaders has used to describe the cryptocurrency phenomenon. He's also manically cheered Bitcoin Core price haircuts, tacitly approving investors being wiped out and worse. More recently, he took to Twitter yet again, to troll XRP and Bitcoin enthusiasts, chiding, quote, "If a digital currency isn't actually used for transactions, is it a currency?" But Mr. Krugman, interestingly enough, backed into a main argument for Bitcoin Cash, at least as proponents see things. He made no mention of the fourth largest decentralized currency by market capitalization, but Bitcoin Cash Gang maintains that for a cryptocurrency to be a currency in any meaningful sense of the word, it must be used. Otherwise, it's just an exercise in greater fool game theory. And that is true. Now, let's see here. And let's see. Mr. Krugman's snide, smug take has to do with Nathaniel Popper's "Here's some cryptocurrency, now please use it," published in the New York Times this week. Mr. Popper examines Ripple's recent press barrage, shoving its XRP in front of mainstream audiences from Los Angeles, Ellen DeGeneres, to New York, Stephen Colbert, which have hosted giveaways totaling more than $30 million, and just for those two shows, mind you. Now comes the hard part, Mr. Popper explained, persuading people to use XRP for something other than speculative trading. It is an issue facing most of the still young cryptocurrency industry. Digital tokens like Bitcoin and its many imitators like XRP were designed to make electronic transactions of all sorts easier. But today, almost no transactions are happening other than on virtual currency exchanges where people bet on their prices. Cash flush, business light. It's an all-out push by Ripple, including getting perpetually inebriated rapper Snoop Dogg to host after-parties. They've even forked over $300 million to grease the wheels of getting business to use XRP. They're looking to lure developers. This desperation has its own term: cash flush, business light. Store value arguments have held the day, and so most enthusiasts do hold their positions rather than use, at least as it concerns XRP and the world's most popular cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. Mr. Popper notes how many people who bought the digital tokens created by these projects did so in the belief that they would one day be useful for real transactions of some sort. That's not true. We built them to be transactions to be used, yes, but they are being used. So, bite me. If the projects want to keep those investors from selling, the projects have to convince them that tokens will have some long-term value. That's not true at all, Krug. For XR, and actually that wasn't Neil Krugman or Paul Krugman that said that, rather. My apologies. For XRP, the campaign to get users to see it as a functional currency might be less than philosophical, harkening back to crypto's rebellious roots. Projects like it are in grave danger of being legally relegated to securities, meaning they will be subject to restrictions on trading and movement, making it even less likely that people will use the tokens for their intended purposes, Mr. Popper insists, something Ripple executives are keen to avoid at all cost. They've gone to great pains to separate Ripple the company from the currency XRP with an obvious irony. Quote, its efforts to promote XRP could demonstrate how reliant XRP is on Ripple. In any event, the crypto community has at least one example of a currency gaining adoption and medium of exchange use case. Seemingly daily, an innovation or a readoption of a previous concept long abandoned by Bitcoin Core as it veered off into settlement layer digital gold land is implemented, resurrected, as Bitcoin Cash is, actually a currency. Does Paul Krugman have a point? Yeah, he does have a point, I believe, in that if it's not useful, if you don't have any utility for it, then what value is it to you? And I think one of the issues that we're facing right now in cryptocurrency is that it's not exactly certain what's going on with regard to regulators. Now, as far as regulatory clarity, honestly, I wish they would just shut up. Unless it's an actual investigation of actual fraudulent or actual thievery or, some other scammery that involves theft, fraud, murder, real crime, I don't want to fucking hear about it. If the SEC or the CFTC or any of those other organizations really wanted to stop scaring people and maybe get us some, how should I say this? Get some sort of happy joy feelings about them, what they really need to be investigating is things like these hacks that keep happening. Mostly on exchanges, but some on coins. See, the fact of the matter is that cryptocurrencies are by far the most accountable form of money ever known by man. There is no doubt. And as such, you would think that such investigatory bodies as maybe the FBI or somebody to that effect would be investigating the blockchains of currencies that are involved in hacks and saying, let's use it as a map of the crime, rather than, we're just going to watch all that shit happen, we're not really going to bother with it, and, maybe if somebody calls a cop, then we'll investigate it or some shit. I mean, come on, man. If you want to show me that you're leading oversight, do it where it fucking matters. Quit asking exchanges to keep all this AML, KYC, CYA bullshit. Because in all honesty, all it does is subject all of their users to additional security risks. Not just their money, but also their personally identifying information. I mean, things like their state identification ID, their personal picture, a sample of their handwriting. Give me a fucking break, people. You don't need all of that shit to trade cryptocurrencies on exchanges. And as a matter of fact, you don't even need all that shit to accurately report, down to the fucking Satoshi, your taxable income. And as a matter of fact, you have globally held logs on blockchains to verify the veracity of your statements and your claims. And you say, hey man, I don't know you taxes. Look. Check this out. This is my capital loss for this year. I mean, give me a break, man. If you're going to investigate something, investigate some real shit, some real fucking crime. And I mean, you can't tell me that the extent of your authority, if you do have any authority at all, is to just idly watch this shit happen. I do think that you have a role to play if you are going to be involved in oversight. And so things like what we're going to cover today, and what I'd intended most on covering, although I came across a couple other things, is Syscoin. Apparently they experienced some sort of attack, and then Binance was used to offload a shit ton of Syscoin at an extraordinary sum of money, and a lot of money was extracted. I'm not entirely certain how to take it, and so I've been trying to investigate it and get us a little better understanding of what's going on with this. But I'm finding a bunch of bullshit from technical analysis, and I don't want that. I want the fucking story with regard, and it doesn't even fucking have it. It has a whole bunch of fucking iota. Fuck you, News BTC. Listen to this. This is the title of it: Syscoin attack and Binance Safu coincidence. EOS IOTA Litecoin Stellar Lumens and Tron technical analysis. Now it's like nothing but technical analysis except for this bullshit about the Safu fund. But I'm not seeing anything in here about the fucking the thing that I want to find out about. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, here we go. News is Binance is creating a secure asset fund for users following recent Syscoin events that saw its blockchain attacked. And so we are going to actually look up Syscoin. Fucking, you know what? I'm starting to really get annoyed at these cryptocurrency related publications. I mean, really, if this is what you call like journalism, fuck you. You don't know what it is. Let's see. Syscoin blockchain attack. I'm gonna fucking look at. Let's see here. Syscoin was not under attack. Okay, that's one. Let's find another one. Okay, that's another one. Aha! Here's a better one. Because this one kind of gives us a prelude. So let's start with the prelude, because now we can actually look back over the articles and see what the intended outcome was. And this is on cryptovest.com. Syscoin developers' GitHub account compromised. Syscoin has released a security notice to their community today, advising them that a malicious copy of the Syscoin 3.0.4.1 Windows-based installer has been made available by a compromised Syscoin developer account. Now, let's see here. And the tweet for it, Syscoin security notice: if you are a Windows user and have downloaded Syscoin Syscoin-QT 3.0.4.1 between June 9th and June 13th, please read this now. The notice explains that on Wednesday, the Blockchain Foundry received a series of user reports that the latest Syscoin Core 3.04 Windows installer was triggering Windows Defender AVG and Kaspersky antivirus software, stating that the setup was from an unknown publisher. When Syscoin developers began investigating these reports, they discovered an unsigned copy of the latest Windows Syscoin installer had been modified and released on the Syscoin GitHub page, containing Trojan malware. The cause of this malicious activity has been identified, with the team reporting that Syscoin developer's GitHub account had been compromised, granting them access to tamper with the code. The Syscoin team has openly accepted that, quote, this may affect Windows users who downloaded and executed the Syscoin 3.0.4.1 Windows setup binaries from GitHub between June 9th, 10:14 p.m. UTC and June 13th, 10:23 p.m. UTC, and has included an extensive step-by-step guide on how to identify and remove this threat. Further preventative measures have also been assured by the Syscoin and Blockchain Foundry team to stop a breach like this from happening again, including mandatory use of 2FA authentication on all developer accounts and routine verifications of signature hashes. At the time of writing, Syscoin is still in recovery from the recent bear market, and so far this latest news has not been reflected in the token's value. Currently up about 2.74%, the community remains bullish for the project, who have perhaps gotten off lightly in comparison to other hacks we've seen in this space. A report by Carbon Black recently released daunting figures that in the last 6 months alone, $11 billion has been stolen by crypto-related hacks, with reports that around 12,000 dark web markets have been identified currently offering over 34,000 malware products for as cheaply as $1. With such a lucrative cybercrime industry growing in this space, it's becoming far more likely that these sorts of attacks will become increasingly commonplace as criminals find new ways to exploit these crypto projects' security measures. For now, Syscoin's community will be able to breathe a sigh of relief that this recent exposure was not significantly worse. Now, mind you, this is by Ollie Leach, authored June 15th. That was a while ago. About three weeks ago. So, somebody compromised the GitHub account of one of the Syscoin developers, modified their installer for their I guess their Qt wallet or something to that effect, and apparently also downloaded some information that they wouldn't normally have had access to, and utilized that, I would bet, in the most recent attack. This is not a coincidence, kids. 3 weeks is more than long enough to develop some sort of attack plan and implement it. And I believe this is just one prong of... I'm noticing this happening again and again, where they aren't targeting... they're targeting coins specifically, but it seems to me that they're using them in unison, or using these attacks in unison with other entities. And there's been some accusation with regard to Binance. I'm not going to fling that mud. I think really the hack itself was made possible by the events this article describes. That the Syscoin developer's GitHub account was compromised, and all kinds of information that only the Syscoin developers had, I would assume, was assimilated by this attacking party, and I believe that ultimately we are going to find out that this was the source of the intel that was utilized in this most recent attack. Again, there are no coincidences, and I think we got breadcrumb number one right here, or at least with regard to Syscoin. I would also be willing to bet that it's the same entity that attacked Syscoin, whoever they are. They also were involved in the most recent attacks with, like, I think it was Bitcoin. There was some variant of Bitcoin Gold, I think. And then there was Verge, was hammered a couple times, and there were a couple others that have been hammered as well recently. I would be willing to bet that it is the same entity or same group of entities that's been involved in all of these attacks, because their methodology for attack is relatively similar. They're attacking at the coin level and using the exchanges as an off-ramp. And actually, that part of it is not my thesis. That was from Mr. Bryce Wiener. I actually kind of argued with myself about possibly having him on, because he seemed to have been on top of this pretty much the entire time, kind of eyeballing it and certainly reporting on it on the old crypto Twitter. But yeah, like I said, I think we got breadcrumb number 1 down. And I'm going to sort out these tabs and see if I can order it in some semblance of a cohesive kind of subject matter for tonight. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back into some music. And I'm feeling like some Static X here. Cannibal, here on Coin Metal. And that was Anthrax with Got the Time. And so I've been trolling around, see if I can find some more information about this whole business. And I did track down a few. And I actually found another one that what I wasn't even looking for, but it kind of ties into what we're talking about, only on another coin. So this one is on bravenewcoin.com, Binance incident recap. And this is on July 5th, 2008. So whoever this reporter is, again, from the fucking future. Thank you. After Binance's internal risk management team detected irregular trades from a number of API users on July the 3rd, it temporarily suspended trading, withdrawals, and other account functions. The irregularity came from an issue within the Syscoin blockchain's API run on the Binance platform. There was a sharp spike in the price of Sys, and buy-sell orders hit remarkable levels. Binance has stated that to protect the safety of our API users, it has taken a number of actions related to the incident. Primary amongst them was a rollback of irregular trades and the removal of all existing API keys, with a request for all Binance API users to recreate their API keys. In addition, Binance has warned API users to better safeguard their API keys going forward and to use the IP whitelist functionality to ensure keys are only accessible to authorized users. Quote, no coins were mined outside of the regular mining schedule, and the Syscoin blockchain was not compromised, Syscoin co-founder Sebastian D. Michel. I believe I've heard something to the contrary of that. For its part, Syscoin co-founder Sebastian de Michel says there's no breach of the Syscoin network and the incident was purely API related. He says the Syscoin block explorer indicated that 1.2 billion coins were transferred back and forth on the same block, and it was not an attack on the network. D. Michel adds that no coins were mined outside of the regular mining schedule, and the Syscoin blockchain was not compromised. Syscoin secures its blockchain using ZDAG technology. Additionally, it is merge mined with Bitcoin, giving it a boost in hash rate and creating greater security against hackers. Binance has provided a summation of the incident in its support site, which we're going to go to now. In addition to the noted action relating to the API usage, Binance is offering rebates and compensation to users affected by the outage and announced the creation of a secure asset fund for users, SAFU. Binance says beginning on July the 14th of July, it will allocate 10% of all trading fees received into SAFU to offer protection to our users and their funds in extreme cases. This fund will be stored in a separate cold wallet. Wow. So, with regard to this, I believe that the persons or persons who compromised Syscoin's GitHub maybe got some of the underlying code for the API, or I don't know. I don't know how much of that is produced on Binance's end, or maybe it gave them intimate knowledge of the Binance API. I don't know. From the Syscoin end of it. So I don't know. It seems to me there's some people pointing fingers back and forth here. As far as who exactly was responsible for it. I'm not entirely sure, so we're going to continue on into this thing here. And this is Binance's explanation. This is on supportbinance.com. Incident recap on irregular sys trading. Binance 20 hours ago. Fellow Binancians, at 2018-73818 UTC, irregular trades were detected from a number of API users, triggering our internal risk management system. As such, Binance made a timely decision to suspend trading, withdrawals, and other account functions. We have since taken the following actions related to this incident. Number 1. To protect the safety of our API users, we have removed all existing API keys and requested all API users to recreate their API keys. We implore our users to take care of their API keys going forward. Number 1. If you are not a regular API user, please do not create an API key. Number 2. Do not give any third-party service providers access to your personal API key. Number 3. Use the IP whitelist functionality to ensure your key is only accessible to you. And that was like subpoint 1 through 3 there. Number 2. Rollback of irregular trades. Number 3. For the users who were negatively affected by choosing to trade the rising sys price, Binance will offer zero-fee trading between 2018 I'm sorry, that's 2018-7.5 and 2018-7.14. So that's July 5th through July 14th. If you traded sys during the incident and believe you were negatively affected, please open a support ticket. Number 3. For all other Binance users, we will offer a 70% rebate on the trading fees received from you. Does not include referrals between July 5th and July 14th. The rebate will be given in the form of BNB calculated using the closing price on July 14th. To protect the future interests of all users, and this is number 4, to protect the interests of all users, Binance will create a secure asset fund for users, SAFU. Starting from July 14th, we will allocate 10% of all trading fees received into SAFU to offer protection to our users and their funds in extreme cases. This fund will be stored in a separate cold wallet. Since founding, Binance has always upheld our core values of spreading crypto and protecting users. Binance has achieved explosive growth in the first year. With this growth, we are also experiencing many problems. We must reflect upon these problems, learn from them, and improve ourselves. We know in the course of making history, we will be tested again and again. We believe every test makes us stronger, and only if we fight together can we move the industry forward. We thank all our supporters and those who nudged us forward. We welcome your comments, suggestions, and feedback. Thank you for being with us on our journey. Binance will continue to push forward. Very, very upbeat. But very, very, very clear as to what they believe actually happened. And like I said, I think this was a systemic kind of attack. This is only, I think this is only one angle of it. I think Bryce is perfectly right that this was just the off-ramp. Binance was just the off-ramp. That there were other fuckery afoot associated with this. And again, I believe this all roots back to the compromise of the GitHub repository account by one of the developers. Apparently had his account compromised. And anyway, yeah, I believe that the two are intrinsically related. That the information there in the GitHub was enough that the attacker was able to, and they probably had open information that would have allowed this kind of attack. But I don't know that this is the extent of the attack. Like I said, I believe this is just the intended off-ramp for it. Whether Binance's systems were sufficient to catch it, apparently not, because that fucking candle looks pretty fucking big. I mean, they show a picture. I saw a picture of the chart, and it's astronomical, man. You couldn't mistake that Space Needle. So, yeah, I think that I think it's good that they're being forthcoming with resources. You know, they're not just trying to shake it off and say, "Oh, this didn't happen. You know, everything is fine here." But they give you some very proactive measures to protect yourself against future possible attacks. Personally, I would consider Syscoin itself suspect at this point. That your wallet, at least, if not the coin itself and the mining or whatever, I don't know. All I am saying is this, that there's more going on here. This is just how it impacted Binance and their users. Because again, like Bryce has asserted, and I also support this position that Binance was just the off-ramp. That there was a greater attack underway, and probably another one in the making somewhere. You know, and I'm not trying to FUD here. I'm really not. I'm just saying that, you know, history is a good teacher. And, you know, this has happened now. You know, we have evidence of it having happened. So, again, I want to get a little bit further here. And this one on CryptoVest also says Syscoin blockchain was not under attack. Binance left to investigate glitch. Let's see here. And this might give us a different angle of it. This again, it's on CryptoVest. Syscoin blockchain was not under attack. Binance left to investigate glitch. In dramatic 12 hours for the crypto community, the erratic behavior of Syscoin's blockchain and Binance trading system mystified everyone. By Christine Masters, authored approximately 10 hours ago. No penis. Continuing on. Syscoin was not hacked, but a series of events led to confusion. A period of erratic behavior on the Syscoin blockchain coincided with unusual trading patterns on Binance.
ending up in filling an order selling 11 Syscoin at 96 Bitcoin per Sys. Holy shit. The timeline for the Syscoin blockchain anomalies started when the requirement to upgrade to the started with the requirement to upgrade to the 3.06 QT wallet. Afterwards, the network created a so-called super block, paying out staking rewards to verifying nodes. Those nodes that still ran the 3.0.5 version froze. The team explained the subsequent mining anomaly. Quote, the majority of miners that were mining Bitcoin plus Syscoin merge mined that upgraded have fee policies above the default KB/Sys fee rate of 10,000 Satoshis per kilobyte. We later realized the fee rate for these miners has been set to 0.001 Sys per kilobyte, an order of magnitude higher than default. As a result, transactions seemed to not be processed, and some equated it to an attack during the same time as a large price fluctuation. Afterwards, the Syscoin network started to produce abnormally large blocks while noticing activity suggesting withdrawals from a large Binance wallet. It was around that time that the Syscoin team alerted Binance for a possible attack against exchanges. This potential attack, still not clarified, coincided with the anomalies on the Syscoin network. Quote, we recognize the large 46 million Syscoin used to send out funds and chained as unconfirmed transactions as suspicious activity, and immediately requested a halt to trading on all exchanges to protect users. Bittrex and Poloniex immediately complied. Binance began to identify the issue. The team claims Binance reset the API keys and resumed trading, leaving a handful of coins with flash pumps to go back to normal. The case of the 7,000 Bitcoin withdrawn from Binance during the time of the network anomaly and flash pumps is a third event with no certain relationship to the anomalous Syscoin blocks and the Binance API exploit. The Syscoin team also denied the exploit was due to using old Syscoin balances, dismissing it as ungrounded speculation. Binance users are also reporting lowered Bitcoin balances, but according to the Syscoin team, the blockchain itself has not been hacked, and the problem lies with exchanges or other attempts for a double spend. I do not agree. From the descriptions of what we're talking about here, we are talking about, I believe, a dev level hack. I mean, like Syscoin hacked from the ground up. And you know what? I would almost be willing to bet you. Let me check something out here. I want to see something here. Let's find out who was hacked. Syscoin developer GitHub hacked. Syscoin hacked, malware inserted into GitHub account. Okay, so we got that. Let's find out. It's just telling us Syscoin GitHub has been breached. It's not telling us whose account was breached. Let's see, GitHub account of Syscoin cryptocurrency was compromised by hackers and replaced the official Syscoin Windows client with a tainted version. The Syscoin clients allow users to mine Syscoin cryptocurrency or manage Syscoin funds. The other versions of the 3.0.4.1 release were not replaced. This means that the Mac and Linux clients were not replaced by the hackers. The tainted version of the Syscoin Windows client contained the the Archie data stealer, aka Trojan Win32/Fury BC, a malicious code used to steal passwords and wallet private keys. The Syscoin development team is warning users. You know what? I would be willing to bet you that the owner of the GitHub account that was compromised is the source of the compromise. Meaning that either A, his personal systems are compromised or have been compromised, or B, he is the motherfucking hacker. I would suggest A, because it seems like this is a systemic gig. Okay, this isn't just going on fucking Binance's API. This is systemic. Systemic. Continuing on. The Syscoin development team is warning users that downloaded the Syscoin wallet client version 3.0. Oh, and by the way, this is on securityaffairs.com, or .co rather, WordPress. The Syscoin development team is warning users downloaded client version 3.0.4.1 between June 9th, 2018, 10:14 p.m. UTC, and June 13th, 2008. Alright, there it is. The attacker, whoever it is, had access and had control or had control during the time period, at least June 9th, if not before. Most likely before. The motherfucker was probably gathering all kinds of passwords and shit for weeks. Anyway, so June 9th, 2018, and apparently they figured out that how this person was breaching them on June 13th. So, continuing on, that their machines might be infected. The Syscoin developers found that a malicious unsigned copy of the Windows Syscoin 3.0.4.1 installer was made available via the Syscoin GitHub release page on June 9th, 2018 due to a compromised GitHub account. Compromised GitHub account. Compromised GitHub account. Whose fucking account? Do you know? Have you terminated that source as a possible attack vector? This installer contained malicious code. Trojan 32 Fury BC reads the security notice, which we are going to go to, published by the development team. Quote, the virus total scan of the malicious file named re.exe that is saved to the local temp folder, c/user/appdata/local/temp upon running the fake installer. The Syscoin team discovered the security breach after receiving a warning from users that Windows Defender Smart Screen, AVG, and Kaspersky was marking downloads of the Syscoin wallet client as a virus. The affected executables are Syscoin Core -3.0.4 Win32 Setup EXE, and also the Win64 version of the same. Syscoin team removed the malicious files and issued a security notice that includes the instructions to determine the installation date. Right-click on the Syscoin Qt.exe in blah 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 Syscoin Core, or view in detailed list mode and make a note of the modified date, or go to Settings app to make note of the installation date. So basically, it looks like what happened was this specific thing was included, like, I don't know, some sort of like private miner or something like that. Somebody ganked the network from that, and yeah, continuing on. If the modified installation date is between June 9th, 2018 and June 13th, 2018, the team suggests users taking the following actions. Number 1, backing up any important data, including wallets, onto another storage medium outside of the affected computer. Treat this data cautiously, as it may contain malicious code. Number 2, run an up-to-date virus scanner on your system to remove the threat. Number 3, passwords entered since this time of the infection should be changed from a separate device after ensuring the threat has been removed. Number 4, funds in unencrypted wallets or wallets that have been unlocked during the infection period should be moved to a newly generated wallet on a secure computer. The Syscoin team announcement additional measures to protect its users and their assets, such the usage of two-factor authentication for its developers and routine file signature checks of the files available to download to detect any modification of the repository. Quote, we are working with GitHub to improve the release page experience and provide information regarding the modifying account, as well as the last modification date of a release. This would allow users to detect if certain binaries were updated for potentially malicious purposes, concludes the notice. All individuals responsible for GitHub releases should enable 2FA and ensure that they have deterministic signature hashes for files on a regular basis. Dude, this shit is systemic for Syscoin. How fucking appropriate their name, right? I'm telling you right now, one of their devs systems was hacked. I don't know which one. Either that or I've even thought up another possible scenario here, is that one of Syscoin's developers went fucking rogue. Probably a key member, somebody that they don't really feel too keen on reporting because, I mean, he might be like the brains of the operation or something like that, or maybe even a key investor. Point being that I suspect this is a developer level fucking gig. Okay, I mean it's either a developer, it's either that, or it's one of their requirement for 2FA. Okay, that leads me to believe that either GitHub itself has been fucking compromised, their GitHub accounts, you know, like the way that they sign in or whatever has been compromised, maybe their browser, or literally, like, one of these guys fucking went rogue. He just said, you know what, fuck Syscoin. This is worth a lot of money. I can cash out, get a whole bunch of Bitcoin, and live happily ever after. You know? So yeah, 7,000 Bitcoin were gigged from this. Now, I mean, you can't tell me that we can't use the taint of the transaction for the Bitcoin blockchain, where it was actually exchanged from Binance to the individual. You can't tell me that we can't track that down. There you go, FBI, NSA, whatever fucking agency would be looking into that. There you go. There's your fucking lead. That's breadcrumb number 2. So yeah, this shit is systemic. I'm almost positive that one of their developers has been hacked or has gone rogue. And that seems likely for me. And let's see here. And so this is on Syscoin's GitHub. Security notice for Windows-based installers. And this is by Sebastian1234. Edited this page 20 days ago. 6 revisions. This notice is for all cryptocurrency users who downloaded the Windows-based installers from GitHub.com's release pages for their respective projects. Developers of these projects may be targeted for the particular attack described below. Notice: on June 13, 2018 at 6:05 p.m. UTC, the Blockchain Foundry team received reports of Windows Defender Smart Screen showing the Syscoin Core 3.0.4 Win64 setup exe by unknown publisher, which led to the investigation of this issue. What happened? Under investigation, the Syscoin developers found that a malicious unsigned copy of the Windows Syscoin 3.0.4.1 installer was made available via the Syscoin GitHub release page on June 9, 2018 due to a compromised GitHub account. The installer contained malicious code, and we've already covered that. The virus total scan of the malicious file named re.exe that is saved to the local temp folder upon running the fake installer, who may be affected. This may affect Windows users who downloaded and executed the Syscoin 3.0.4.1 Windows setup binaries from GitHub between June 9th, 2018, 10:14 p.m. UTC, and June 13th, 2018, 10:23 p.m. UTC. Windows users who may not be affected. Number 1. Individuals using versions of Syscoin other than 3.0.4.1. Number 2. Users that did not download or execute the Syscoin 3.0.4.1 setup binaries during the time period shown above. Mac and Linux users were not affected by this issue. What should you do? All Windows users should identify their installation date. Right-click on the we've already covered that business. How did this happen? Let's see. How did this happen? Reports were filed indicating that Windows Defender Smart Screen, AVG, and Kaspersky were flagging the Syscoin Core 3.0.4 Win64 setup.exe as a potential virus. Investigation into the issue revealed the original GitHub Windows setup binaries for the release had been modified and replaced with a malicious version during a compromised through a compromised GitHub account. Now, okay, they keep mentioning compromised GitHub account, but they're not saying like whose compromised GitHub account. Upon discovery, the 3.0.4.1 setup binary was removed from GitHub and replaced with official signed versions of the binaries. What actions will Syscoin take in the future? Effective immediately, all Syscoin developers and Blockchain Foundry staff with GitHub access will, number 1, be required to have 2FA authentication enabled. Number 2, perform routine verification of signature hashes. Number 3, work with GitHub to ensure users will be able to detect if binaries have been altered after release. We are in contact with GitHub to determine whether there were any breaches of security on their end that would have allowed the uploaded binaries to be compromised. Summary: the Blockchain Foundry team received reports of the Windows blah 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 blah, team investigation launched, blah blah blah. All 3.0.4.1 binaries were downloaded from GitHub and compared against the SHA-256sum.asc available, and there appeared to be a discrepancy for all Windows installer files. The SHA-256sum.asc was cross-checked against a local copy of SHA-256sum.asc created at the time of building, May 27, 2018, and confirmed that the fingerprints for the Windows installer files were not matching. The SHA-256sum.asc file was unmodified by the attacker at May 27th. Okay, so that was before they actually compromised the account on GitHub. We downloaded an infected copy of the Syscoin Core 3.0.4 Windows 64 setup.exe onto a test machine, and upon opening, we noticed the file installer path was changed to C:/users user app data local temp re2.exe instead of user downloads Syscoin Core 3.0.4 Win64 setup.exe. Further investigation showed a file named re.exe was created in the C:/users user app data local temp, at which point we confirmed that our GitHub setup binaries had been modified and replaced with corrupted versions. The file copied to temp direction re.exe has been confirmed to be malicious by the majority of antivirus scanners through www.virustotal.com. We removed 2 of the corrupted copies, and the windows.exe files were replaced with the correct ones. We used the GitHub API to confirm the binaries were modified on June 9, 2018. Thus, users who downloaded the following files between June 9, 2018 and June 13, 2018 should consider their computer at risk. It is unknown if data may be exfiltrated or if there is opportunity to install additional malware on the machine at risk. We purposely infected a cheap laptop not used for sensitive content in our office. After restart, we were asked for a login password, although none had been set by us. Prior to login, we observed that a .exe titled 4022232.exe was running, which renamed itself to Anti-Malware Service Executable in the Task Manager. Upon restart, it was password protected. The results of the test lead us to believe that it was most likely a keylogger and or ransomware. Preventative measures. Although the issue was detected quickly, we believe that the crypto community is at risk for a specific type of attack which targets gatekeepers of source code for cryptocurrency projects. I believe they're trying to offload the attack vector to possibly GitHub, and you know what? That's entirely possible. It's not out of the question, not by any means. However, personally, I believe, again, it was either a Syscoin developer gone rogue, hence why they're asking for 2FA nowadays, whereas they weren't before, apparently. Or that somebody had compromised a developer's GitHub account, either by compromising his system personally, or, again, at the quote-unquote gatekeeper point. Again, I think the hack itself started on the developer's machine, probably with a keylogger of some sort. Anyway, continuing on. We highly recommend that all gatekeepers of software repositories for cryptocurrency projects sign binaries through an official build process like Gaitian or Gaitian. Should the Gaitian process be followed, for example, github.com, Syscoin blob, master doc, I'm not going to read all of that, you will have necessarily signed the binaries. It is then easy for a downloader to detect that these binaries have been signed by an authority managing the release process. In this case, Blockchain Foundry Inc. We are working with GitHub to improve the release page experience to provide information regarding this modifying account, as well as the last modification date of a release. This would allow users to detect if certain binaries were updated for potentially malicious purposes. All individuals responsible for GitHub releases should enable 2FA and ensure that they have deterministic signature hashes for files on a regular basis. Yeah, you know what this is telling us? This is telling us the nature of the attack. The nature of the attack was, again, either one of three places. GitHub itself, meaning that their systems were compromised. Somebody compromised the system of a Syscoin developer, and then they signed into their GitHub account, and then it was compromised. Or in fact, one of Syscoin's devs who had GitHub repository access went rogue. Who knows? But it's big, and I don't think it's over yet. If it continues, I would say, let's narrow it down here, okay? If we don't find out who it is within 2 months, that the attacks will continue until there is a significant upgrade on the source code for Syscoin. Or, I mean, if they persist even further than that, I would start looking at, and I still haven't verified this one thing. I want to check it out just to make sure, because I seem to remember there having been several coins that were pressured into using a certain piece of software, and I want to verify that. Let me go ahead and throw back down into music for the moment, and then on the other side of this music break, we're going to dig further into this Syscoin business, because I think there might be a commonality link that other coins might experience potentially in the future if it's the link that I think. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music. And what to play? Oh my god, I just thought of it. It's like the best song for this particular situation. Beastie Boys, Sabotage, here on Coin Metal. And that was Static X with Ostigo Undead. So, as I started to say before we went to our music break, I had an additional suspect in my particular lineup, and I actually have one more additional one in after this. But here it is: The Road to Segwit. This is on Syscoin.org. Syscoin Core 2.1.2 includes a new feature that was brought in from the upgrade of Bitcoin Core. It allows signaling and participation of segregated witness on the network. F2 Pool, which is the largest Syscoin mining pool, has pleasantly turned pro-SegWit recently, and as soon as they start signaling SegWit blocks, our network will be ready to accept them. We are also in talks with Bitcoin China mining pool, BTCC, to mine Syscoin merged with Bitcoin. BTCC is pro-SegWit as well, and they expressed their interest in adding Syscoin to their Bitcoin mining pool as a merged mine coin. SegWit is a prerequisite to further innovations on Bitcoin Core that will allow for many great features that Syscoin can leverage. Done. We're done with that for right now. So, here we are. We've got a connection through the Bitcoin, the SegWit. But I think a bigger potential attack vector is something that only occurred to me due to the timeline. Okay? what do we recall happening recently with GitHub? Because again, I have listed them in my group of potential suspects as far as attack sources for this recent Syscoin event. I seem to recall something happening with regard to GitHub, and recall, I'm asserting this is a dev level hack, that this is a systemic hack, okay, and that limits the scope of potential sources of the attack. Okay, so again, we're talking about a potential developer who had their system compromised. You know, a GitHub account that was either compromised via some other sort of method, or via the potential of a developer themselves getting hacked and their systems being compromised. That's always an option. But there are additional options. There are additional options. Who owns GitHub? Here we go. This is blogs.microsoft.com. Microsoft plus GitHub equals empowering developers. This was authored June 4th. Satya Nadella, Chief Executive Officer of Microsoft. Today we announced an agreement to acquire GitHub, the world's leading software development platform. I want to share what this acquisition will mean for our industry and for developers. An era of the intelligent cloud and the intelligent edge is upon us. Computing is becoming embedded in the world and every part of our daily life and work, and every aspect of our society and economy being transformed by digital technology. Not really. Not all of it. Developers are the builders of this new era, writing the world's code, and GitHub is their home, which we've just now bought. As every industry, from precision medicine to precision agriculture, from personalized education to personalized banking, is being impacted by technology, the developer community will only grow in numbers and importance. Developer workflows will drive and influence business processes and functions across the organization, from marketing, sales, and service to IT and HR. The value creation and growth across every industry will increasingly be determined by the choices developers make. In short, developers will be at the center of solving the world's most pressing challenges. However, the real power comes when every developer can create together, collaborate, share code, and build on each other's work. In all other walks of life, we see power of communities, and this is true for software development and developers, which we intend to own. That is why we are so excited about today's announcement. More than 28 million developers already collaborate on GitHub, and it is home to more than 85 million code repositories used by people in nearly every country. Motherfuckers. Hold on a second here. What's this? Okay. Microsoft has been a developer-focused company from the very first product we created. They create software? I thought they just copy everybody else's software. I mean, was I mistaken in that? Yeah. Microsoft has been a developer-focused company from the very first product we created to the platforms and tools we offer today. Building technologies so that others can build technology is core to our mission to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more, so that we can own their software. Microsoft is also committed to empowering communities, from the world's professionals to IT professionals to gamers. We believe in the power of communities to achieve much more than what their members can do on their own. It's our ability to work together that helps our dreams become... You know what? I heard like a similar similar theme from this organization in China when I was reading their white paper. I can't remember who it was, though. But anyway, they're like really big over there. I want to say it was Weibo or something like that. But basically, they were saying that they get stronger by just copying other people's shit. And that's what I'm hearing here. It's different terminology and whatnot. But basically, they're saying we get stronger by empowering you with tools that we then use to copy your shit and make it our shit and then charge you for it. Yeah, we've seen this game before, Microsoft. Why don't you be useful? Turn your motherfucking Xbox into a miner and let me mine coins on your fucking network. That's what you need to do. But no, what you're really going to do is do that in the background, not fucking tell me. Sell the fucking coins back to me at an inflated rate. Assholes. But yeah, so here we have it. You know, we have Microsoft involved in Azure, which is the exchange level software. We have Microsoft involved at the level of GitHub, because they now own GitHub. And so again, they're a potential liability as far as I'm concerned. One of their employees is now on my list of suspects, whoever is most involved with the GitHub project, I would assume. And as a matter of fact, GitHub has been acting as a bit of an attack vector or attack source for a lot of coins. As a matter of fact, I believe there was something with regard to Verge itself having had a similar compromise, but I'm not entirely certain on that. But the point being that these are the attack that we did see on Verge was a dev level attack, but dude, I know Verge dev, and one fucking him. But I would say that the attack vector that we are looking at for all of these, I am telling you, it's mutual. It is almost positive. I would be so fucking surprised if it isn't an actual like program of Microsoft, that they don't actually have a fucking department dedicated to analyzing code of coins and looking for ways to exploit them. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even doubt these monkeys were in charge of fucking the development of Coin Hive and that kind of shit. Look, we are not facing a world with just one surface of attack. There are multiple surfaces of attack. It's not just the coins. And we were warned about all of these potential sources of attack by Mr. Nakamoto. I mean, I've had a lot of really early discussions about this stuff with a lot of the people that were really involved in the development of it. And all of these concerns, all of these philosophical concerns were addressed. You know, things like centralization of repositories. Oh my goodness, this was addressed. That's why multiple people had the GitHub access for Bitcoin. They subsequently were all forced to kind of give theirs up or were just kicked out. But that's neither here nor there. The point being that it's obvious, it should be obvious to anyone by now, that GitHub is for all intents and purposes, suspect. If you're doing your development through them and using them as a repository for your code, I would consider moving your code somewhere else and not hosting it there. Because that would be like the first move towards self-protection. I mean, really, this is not some fucking bullshit attack going on. Okay, this isn't somebody's fucking, Binance account getting hacked and their funds being stolen or some shit like that. This is a dev level threat, and people really got to start taking this more seriously, because, like I said, Microsoft's a very big organization, very powerful organization. Okay, the idea of them being in charge of holding your repositories for your software, They have a history. They have a history, kids, of copying other people's fucking code, stealing it, and then suing them for fucking patent violations. You know, they turn around and like patent some aspect of the tech, and then next thing you know, you're in fucking court because they claim that you're copying their shit. And this is the nature of the beast they are. And so again, why anybody trusts them as a place to be putting their code? You fucking people are silly. Fucking silly. Sorry. I mean, I know it's neither here nor there. You're used to having your stuff there, but really, decentralized storage of repositories, that should be a concentration, or some other way to store your fucking shit. You know, maybe self-hosting. I know that doesn't sound very appealing, but when you hand something like that off to a third party, they become a fucking suspect. They become a suspect. The people that own them become a suspect. All the people that have access to their accounts become suspect. It's like growing pot in an area just full of fucking bugs and all kinds of sources of contamination, and you know, not giving them any nutrients, not giving them proper lighting. Give me a fucking break. If you want your shit to flourish, you got to be trying to promote it within, or promote its growth within a healthy environment. You know, you have to eliminate as many potential threats, external threats, as possible. You know, so again, self-storage. You know, like I said, it's a pain in the ass, but when you look at the facts, storage is down in cost. I mean, and it only gets cheaper the more you buy. I mean, my last laptop that I just bought has a 2 terabyte drive in it. I paid less than $700 for the thing. I have a hard time imagining that. I mean, not all that long ago, 2 terabytes worth of drive space would have been $700. But the point being that the cost of storage is going down significantly low. So, again, you might want to consider the possibility of hosting your own file server. If you're fucking serious about this shit, about what you're doing, I would strongly suggest it. Because as of now, I mean, I'm just seeing too many incidences involving both Microsoft and GitHub to consider them trusted partners in this stuff. Yeah. Everybody's suspect. Remember, this thing did not affect Mac users. It did not affect Linux users. So, what does that tell you? Windows is a commonality. Either it's a Windows developer or Microsoft themselves. Got to start wondering, kids. And I mean, if there were anything that you could take them to court over that would be worth it, it would be them monkeying around with the code that of coins that people use as money. That would be like class action lawsuit, slam dunk kind of business. But yeah, this Syscoin thing, again, if these type of attacks happen with them specifically, look at the duration. You know, it's like if it happens just now and it's all contained, they fired the guy and got rid of his access to the GitHub repository. If it's a month, there's a potential that it's either somebody within Microsoft or somebody within GitHub or somebody within Syscoin. If it's 2 months, I would start looking specifically at GitHub, at Microsoft, because dude, they put this shit out. They put out code all the time. So the idea that they would put out slightly modified code to do certain things that it wasn't supposed to do, you know, it's not above the possibility. They already have the capacity to do it. You know, and you got to look out there and think to yourself, you know, a lot of the revenue sources that Microsoft has have actually been in decline. Just because people don't have money. They don't have money to buy fucking Xboxes. They don't have money to buy Xbox games. They don't have money to buy their fucking downloadable content packages. They don't have money for that shit. Some of them do, but a ever-shrinking pool of people do. And so when you're looking at that, you have to consider the possibility that they're looking for other funding models. And, yeah, there you go. Embedding shitcode into people's miners or wallets. Could be a possibility, you never know. I mean, that's the problem with involvement at all. And I think that's one of the reasons why the consensus mechanism was set up the way it was in Bitcoin to begin with, was that no single source could be a trusted arbiter. And we already see within the ecosystem that exists today how the people that have those positions, how they use them, and how they act towards the community as a whole. You can see it with plain eyes. What you really need to do, though, is start using, with your wallet and your attention span, your influence on the market. And, it's a mimetic thing that a lot of these articles, they really don't indicate your importance in the whole thing. But you're the market. The market works how you work, because you are it. Anyway, enough of that business. We're going to be closing it out for the night. Thank you very, very much for listening. I certainly do appreciate the support. You can find me on Twitter, on Facebook, in the Telegram chat room for Verge Currency. And, also the IRC channel. Occasionally, I'll be in there. A lot of the community has drifted away from that particular source, and so I haven't been accessing it as much as I should. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw down our last dance for the evening. We will be back again on Friday. I will do my best to get this episode up as soon as possible. I'm just writing the synopsis for the last one. So the Illusion of Digital Currencies, that's already uploaded. It's just a matter of me finishing off the descriptor and tagging it, putting it out there for you guys. But yeah, so I'll do my best to get this one out there soon. And Friday, we'll be back again at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on RadioCrypto.com. Anyway, you all have an excellent evening. I'd like you all to trade safe, do your homework, and watch out for your own bunghole, because Microsoft might be trying to steal it right out from under you. Let's go ahead and throw down our last dance, Infectious Grooves. Punk it up. Thank you very much for listening again, and y'all have an excellent evening.